you are watching and listening to Breakfast with Stephen and Ellie.
She says, when are we doing these views? When do you do some?
Yeah, we've got loads. We've got a big stack here. Right, come on then.
You know, when it's me, you do what you like.
No, but I like to be told. I like you to tell me when we've got time and it's a good time.
Oh,
so now's a good time.
It's always a good time to hear from you. That's what I say.
Very good.
So what have you
Should
got?
we talk about food?
Yeah.
Any opportunity. Let's go. Jason says, eat local and eat in season. Possibly stop building houses on prime agricultural land. Of course, we're talking about the salad shortage here in the UK.
If you see, I tell you what's interesting, because Margaret says, I did my shopping yesterday. There was plenty of food. No one would be going hungry. James in Potter's Bar, though, says, my local Tesco's had no tomatoes for 2 weeks and cucumbers are running out. Sarah in Salford said, I'm from Italy and the situation back home is bad. Keith in Crete says, I live on Crete. There are no food shortages here. It's not tomato growing weather at the minute round there anyway. But there's definitely something wrong with the UK economy. And the Italy economy. I mean, it's very mixed views on veg and what's happening and who's to blame.
And part of it's to do with European weather as well, isn't it? And crops and all that kind of thing. But lots of you getting in touch, so do keep them coming. Danny in Hull, we'll end with him. Haven't seen a tomato for ages. Our local supermarket is in such a sorry state. So many veggies missing. Let us know. Should you be eating turnips instead? That's what Tree's Coffee suggesting.
Oh, I love it.
Going British, which we don't mind because we like turnips.
Yeah, that's right. It just seems a very British veg, doesn't it? I don't know if
It
is. The Times this morning leads on Ukraine's year of blood as Rishi Sunak urges NATO members to supply Ukraine with former Soviet fighter jets.
The Mail also draws attention to the anniversary of the Ukrainian conflict, as well as the Queen Consort's swipe at the recent Roald Dahl censorship.
For the Eye, ministers are planning to relax their hardline positions towards striking NHS workers.
The Sun dedicates their front page to the late football commentator John Motson, who died yesterday at the age of 77.
And the Star says, let them eat turnips, as Therese Coffey criticised for her comments regarding, the salad shortage. I'm all for it. Good on you, Therese. Like a turnip. Let's see what Liz Kershaw and Benjamin Butterworth make of it all. Morning, you two.
Good morning.
Let's kick off with a Mail, Liz, should we? Over the Tory party and the Labour Party's 5 missions.
Just quickly, there was a great cartoon on the Telegraph front page yesterday. It's pictures of a butcher shop and the guy standing at the door and there's a big sign saying, try our great alternative to veggie burgers.
Fair point.
Be plant-based. There aren't any plant. Anyway, more on that in a bit with Benjamin. But yeah, so Keir Starmer announced his 5-point plan for the nation. And it's contrasting and comparing it, as we all are, in the Mail today. Keir's dreams, Rishi's wishes. So, build an NHS fit for the future, says Keir. Get NHS waiting list down and ensure people get the care they need more quickly, says Rishi Sunak. Keir Starmer, a plan for the economy with the aim of securing the highest sustained growth in the G7 group of developed nations, Rishi Sunak. Halve inflation this year to ease the cost of living, give people financial security, grow the economy, create better paid jobs, make sure the national debt is falling. And then Keir Starmer also said, make Britain's streets safe. Break down the barriers to opportunities at every stage, make Britain a clean energy superpower. Rishi Sunak had mentioned small boats crossing the channel. That's the main difference there. I mean, as people are saying and analysing this speech, which I didn't see, it's all very well, whichever one we're talking about. But so we'd like to know how you're going to achieve it. The British public would like to know by what means we're going to reach these goals. Nobody's going to disagree with any of those aspirations. And, it's like back to Corbyn when he was more or less saying, vote for me and you'll all get a free mini metro. Students, you'll live in paradise, you won't have to pay. I was thinking, if it was me, I'd go in for the top job. I'd say, yes, I'm going to give you a booming economy, cheap energy, free childcare, free elderly care, a new house for all as you turn 18. You can say these things. It's how you achieve them. People need to know the detail, don't they?
Yes.
And I think people should be demanding that detail before we go to the polls.
But the interesting thing is, I guess, Benjamin, that the fact that they lay out these commitments, the detail might not be there, but because they've laid them out, we can now chase them up to the general election to say, how are you going to do it? How are you going to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it stems back to 1997 when Tony Blair had a pledge card with 5 pledges, and then he tried to run the following 2001 election on whether he delivered them. If you do that, if they're held to account on these claims, then I suppose that is fair enough. But, the truth is that saying we'll have the best growth in the G7, which I think is kind of clunky language in the first place. I'm not sure how much that strikes a chord with a lot of people. But, I mean, no one's going to disagree with that. I think the truth is, Liz makes a perfectly reasonable point of, well, explain how you're going to do it. And, of course, maybe 2 years out from an election, they're not explaining it. But actually, the polls suggest this, that most people, literally 50% of people at least, look at the two parties right now and say, well, it couldn't be any worse. We couldn't be any further from these goals under the current government, so why not give Labour a go? And I think, that's probably Labour's best selling point at the moment, to be honest.
The language, though, Keir Starmer wants to be seen as, able to relate to the public. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of thinking, I'm going to dumb myself down, patronise people. He's not done that. He's just baffling in his use of language. This has been picked out by the Mail. As I said, I didn't see it.
Sure.
New delivery-focused cross-cutting mission boards. Incentivise preventative approaches. Government to be more agile, empowering and catalytic. Seek out creativity in diffusing and scaling up best practice. Real missions rather than veiled aspirations or simple slogans. You what, Keir?
Yeah.
And embedding rigorous evaluation into everything.
That's not helpful, is it?
Well, there's certainly no simple slogans by the sound of that. I think... Yeah, look, Keir Starmer is riding high in the polls at the moment. Labour has been about 50%.
By default. In effect.
Well, I think it's too easy to say that, to be honest, because actually a lot of people on the hard Corbyn-style left like to say that. They like to say, you were just handed it on a plate. Well, they managed to lead Labour to the worst defeat since the 1930s. So what I would say is that at least Keir Starmer looks like a serious politician. For me, I gained a respect for him during Liz Truss's tenure, because she refused to say an end point for the energy cap. Right, and unlike most other leaders. And that was one of the reasons that the markets reacted so badly, because it tied our economy interminably to Russia's behaviour. And Keir Starmer, despite how easy that would have been as the leader of the opposition, refused to say. He said a 6-month cap was his policy. Now, that made a lot of sense. He didn't do the easy thing. And for me, that was a sign that he was at least a serious politician. And so I think these lack of slogans maybe are a bit clunky. They might not be great politics, but at least he's a serious guy.
I think the Tories can take hope from yesterday because due to unexpectedly high tax receipts on the 31st of January, the billions better off. They've got billions more in the bank than they expected to have, so it gives them a bit of leeway. Also, inflation is creeping down slightly, so the goals of achieving that within the next 18 months before a general election might possibly be achieved. Where they'll fall down completely is on the migrant issue, which we're coming on to.
Well, maybe. Let's talk food, should we?
Yeah.
Before we run out of time, let's talk salad shortage.
There is none. If you want a salad, and I've never wanted a salad in my life, but you covered it earlier, really. But so Therese Coffey, who is the Environment Secretary at the moment, she's had a lot of jobs recently. Yeah. She has told people to eat turnips because there are no tomatoes, and basically the energy crisis, the cost of energy crisis, is one of the reasons that the farmers are saying they can't produce it. But also, dare I use the word Brexit? It's at the very least put labour costs up, which has made it more expensive or less sustainable for a lot of these farms to make a profit. And then we've had a particularly wet period. So I think those are the reasons suggested. But I do find it crazy. There was a story in yesterday's papers of
Not like turnip.
I don't think I've had a turnip.
You've never had a turnip?
I don't think
You had
so.
swede on a
I like
roast dinner.
swede, yeah. Is it like swede?
Similar. It's from the same family. I looked it up.
Well, there's a
swede
supermarket
is the
opposite
yellow
here, so
version.
maybe I should try turnip. Can you eat them
I don't
cold?
think they get turnips in Marks and Spencer's
No,
food.
I don't think. Well,
But,
no, but oh no, turnips are lovely.
But there was a woman in Lidl that made the front page. There was, and she was she sort of had her cucumbers seized. She likes to have cucumber smoothies, and she had them seized by angry staff because she was trying to buy more than 3 cucumbers. So, I mean, it's pretty crazy job.
Yeah, 'cause some shops have put a limit on them. I was reading about a lady who had a juicing business and she made her own juices and she's trying to buy 100.
I think that's what I
Might have been the
said.
same lady, yeah. 100
same
cucumbers,
lady.
yeah.
Oh, there you go.
She got stocked at the shelves.
I'm glad you were paying attention.
Well, I thought I'd expand on what was already a great point. But
When I was
so
a
strong.
child, and we got past having a handful of gravel, we'd made it, but we didn't have cucumber and tomatoes at this time of year.
No.
In fact, his food was seasonal, and that was delightful because it marked the difference between the winter and the summer. And it's when your grandma put in front of you for the first time in the year a plate with salad, with lettuce, tomatoes, half a boiled egg, a couple of slices of kiwi and a slice of
It was
boiled
April.
egg. And a couple of strawberries, for afters.
No, we never had. We couldn't afford strawberries.
But now we don't grow these cucumbers and tomatoes in the amounts we should do in this country because we've got lazy and we import them. And places like Ellie mentioned the weather in Europe. So just to put this into context, the difficulties for growing food at the moment abroad. First of all, it's all in greenhouses in Holland and Spain, and they can't afford to heat them. It's the driest winter since 1959, 64 years. In France, they haven't had rain for 32 days, and there'll be water restrictions across France from the 3rd of March. They're already in place in 87 municipalities. And in Spain, there's water shortages. There's low hydroelectric power because of the
don't need
shortage
the
of
Met
water.
Office
So
there.
that's
Oh,
where we
there's a lot
get
of problems.
that's where we get our food from.
No, so we need to be turnips, parsnips, carrots,
Yeah.
good old
Spuds.
winter veg.
Beetroot, Brussels sprouts,
Winter
cabbage.
veg.
Yeah.
Lovely. We're going to leave it there, you two. But we will catch up with you a little bit later on. Thank you very much indeed.